Just got done watching the State of Play. I had to go back and talk about some of the coolest games that were announced. This, to me, is one of the best State of Plays I've seen in a very, very long time. I swear this was made, tailor-made for me, legit. We've already had a pretty banging March, too. You think about, we got the new Horizon game, we got Elden Ring, we got Ghostwire Tokyo coming out soon. So just might as well throw more coal on the fire and give us even more goodness. They started off with Exoprimal, which looks like Anthem, but dinosaurs with a World War Z kind of hybrid. All three of those games mixed up. It comes to us from the guys at Capcom, which is one of my favorite game studios. I'm sure you've seen my videos on Dead Rising, which I absolutely adored, and most lately Monster Hunter Rise. Capcom just continues to find ways to deliver on amazing, amazing products. And this just looks so bizarre and so crazy, I just feel like it's going to work. You have hordes and hordes of dinosaurs pouring in through this dimensional rift, running rampant over a city, and climbing over walls, and that whole World War Z vibe. But you're fighting them back with over-the-top mechanized combat like Gundam suits, which looks exactly like out of Anthem with all the different character classes. It looks like you're going to have a dude with the big shield who's going to kind of be your frontline bruiser. You got sniper rifles, you got rocket launchers, you got kind of all in between. And oh my god, I am so excited for this. I'm probably one of the few people that really enjoyed Anthem. Obviously, the end game left absolutely nothing to be desired, and I was very quickly uninstalling it. But during the ride, I really enjoyed the idea of feeling like Iron Man and flying around and gliding and hovering, and especially playing with my friends online, all of us teaming up to tackle some of the, I don't even want to say hard missions, but to take on the missions together. This just really feels like the spiritual successor to that game, where that game failed because it was just so, while the combat was fun, it just wasn't challenging. But give me large dinosaurs. Maybe even we'll get some like Monster Hunter vibes in here at the end, where we're fighting monsters that are over the top massive. You're going to trickle in some World War Z stuff with just the horde and the flood of enemies. And I could stop right there and just say this State of Play wins because of how amazing that was. But I'm really, really excited. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until at least next year, early next year. I don't know if this is a PlayStation exclusive, if it's coming to PC, Xbox, whatever. I'm just so excited to get my hands on this game, and I can't wait. One of really the few games that really captured my attention very, very quickly. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. They had another Ghostwire Tokyo trailer, which didn't really do a whole lot for me because I'm already hyped, I'm already pre-ordered, I'm ready to go. I didn't really see anything here that made me feel like it was something that I was missing out on, so I'm going to blow past this. Next we got into Stranger in Paradise, which is a game that I said not to sleep on. It was a game that I really, really enjoyed the beta of and the alpha of and all the different playtests they've done. Yes, it still looks a little rough around the edges, but I feel like it has a very strong Dark Souls vibe to it. It has a beautiful soundtrack. It looks like it's going to be a really cool game, and that is coming out so soon. And we have a new demo coming out, so I will be taking a break from Elden Ring. I know. I'll be taking a break from Elden Ring and jumping into that to check it out. I'm really, really eager to give the full report on that, because that's probably going to be the launch. That's pretty much launch code at this point. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot left that they can work on. There's been some issues with the graphics and that sort of thing. We'll have to wait and see. So expect a video report from me on that sometime in the near future. Forsaken is a game that still looks great. I didn't really see anything in here. I'm going to blow through here because I didn't really see anything. I know it's kind of being pushed back a little bit farther now. And I'm excited to see what it's about. I haven't gotten a good enough sense yet of if it's going to be more action-orientated or more story-based. Remains to be seen. Gundam Evolution is one of the few games I didn't care about at all. It looks just like a generic, bland, first-person shooter. Doesn't look like there's a lot here to see or do. But while you are in a Gundam, everybody else is a Gundam, so there's not that sense of scale like you saw in a game like Titanfall. I don't really feel like I'm a big power mechanized guy. I feel like I'm just a guy fighting other guys. And I think that's where this game is going to suffer. If you're going to make a robot game, you have to have a sense of scale. And that's why Titanfall worked so well. Unfortunately, I don't think this game's going to cut it. However, super excited for a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection. Seems like Capcom has been on a roll lately. Or, I'm sorry, Konami has been on a roll lately with these greatest hits games. And if you are a game enthusiast like I am, I guarantee you have played one of the Ninja Turtle games, whether in an actual arcade, the coin-op arcade, or if you got it for the Nintendo or the Super Nintendo. I guarantee you one of these games that they are highlighting here is a game that you have played. And I am just so excited that they seem to have taken such a great collection of them. They're going to put them in a bundle, and they're going to drop them. I'm sure this is going to be available across the board on Nintendo Switch and Xbox and everything. I don't think that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, but very, very excited that that's actually becoming a reality. I'm going to skip through this Giga Bash game because it seemed like a generic King of Monsters type game. I'm not a big fan of those kind of games, so I didn't really see anything there worth talking about. Then they get into this very weird... What they did say it was a very Japanese-centric state of play, which unfortunately means some very bizarre games like JoJo's Bizarre Fighting Adventure. There's a guy in here, I'm just blowing through it because I don't really care about it. There's a guy in here that talks about, like, give me your bubbles, and he shoots bubbles at people, and I'm like, yeah, but no. I'm glad the trailer was short enough that I could kind of blow through it. Definitely not for me. I'm not a big fighting game guy anyway, so I'm not really interested in that. So for everybody else who is, you're probably going to be in for a treat. It looks very stylized, but it's definitely not a game for me. This was one that I was very, very excited for, and when I found out it was by Devolver Digital, or at least Devolver Digital was involved in the publishing and some of the design behind it, I got really excited because they are on a roll. Trek to Yomi, it's a side-scrolling game. It's in black and white, heavily stylized, in which you play as a samurai, either getting revenge on your village being attacked by somebody else, or coming back from the afterlife. It's not really clear by the trailer. I don't care. I'm sure it's going to be a phenomenal side-scrolling game. It's got some interesting combat to it, obviously. A lot of sword play, a lot of decapitations and blood splattering and people dying. I'm not sure how crazy this is going to get in terms of like the supernatural element, or if it's going to remain a little bit more grounded like we've seen with some of the other side-scrolling games in the past. I don't know. Either way, it looks so pretty and fun, and I feel like this kind of samurai thing is back in style again. And obviously Ghost of Tsushima had a big thing, really had a big push in that, but this one looks really cool as well. Again, with a lot of these other State of Play games, this doesn't seem to me like it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive title. I think this is going to be something that we're going to see across multiple platforms, and I'm fine with that. I don't care. I'm not a PlayStation elitist. I mean, I am, but I'm excited, and I don't care that these are only games, you know, for one platform or another. I'm just excited that these are coming so we can play them all together. And this is coming out not too long, spring 2022. So by the time we get through this crazy March, you know, maybe we start, you know, maybe like June, July, we start to get into some of these other things, and I'd be fine with that too. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Returnal is actually getting a free update 3.0, which includes a new boss mode as well as co-op, which I'm very excited for. It didn't make it clear to me if this was going to be couch co-op or you were going to be able to pair with your friends online. I love the idea of playing this game with another person. This is a game that was so challenging, yet so fun for me, and there were so many instances when I thought, man, this game would be so much better to have another person with me. So, bring it on. I'm really, really excited for more Returnal. Doesn't seem like this other piece that they're adding is too in-depth. I mean, this is a free update after all. This is not story DLC. They're not adding a slew of new weapons. It seems like one small mode in co-op, but I'll take it. I played the game. I loved it. I gave it one of my highest ratings and highest reviews. I encourage everyone to go play this game. It was insanely beautiful, insanely difficult, but fair. That was the thing. I always felt like it was fair. And, you know, the crazy bullet hell type games, I wouldn't say they're a dime a dozen, but this one definitely stood out to me as so polished and so beautiful. So we're going to be getting that update 3 also in March. Again, March is just insanely jam-packed with games again. So that's really, really cool. They close out with a couple new Square Enix games that are very heavily stylized. This game reminded me a lot of Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, maybe a little bit of Fire Emblem in there, where it looks like you're going to be doing some sort of turn-based top-down combat. The story trailer, as with a lot of these games, doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of random snippets and quotes in here that don't really seem to give much of a picture of what's happening. I'm sure the story will be explained throughout the game in good time, and we'll be able to enjoy it there. But I want to fast forward through a little of this to show you a snippet of the gameplay. It's this top-down. You can see you have a couple different characters, very similar to, like I said, Fire Emblem and Tactics. Maybe a paper, rock, scissors system. Looks like you have cavalry. Looks like you have fighters. Maybe different like axemen, mages, healers. It just looks beautiful, and I'm so glad that they continue to make these games because they're the only ones that do this now. We haven't really gotten phenomenal gameplay like this really since Fire Emblem, Three Houses, which I love, and I'm still playing through. That game is insanely dense, but bring it on, give us more. And the fact that it's not gated to the Nintendo Switch anymore, the fact that we're going to get it on next generation hardware means we might get better HDR graphics, means we might get 4K, might get 60 frames a second, more juicy cinematics, better load times. That's been the problem, is Square Enix has worked so closely with the handheld market, particularly with the Nintendo 3DS, and then working their way to the Nintendo Switch, that they've kind of forgotten about their brethren in the console space. You don't really see a lot of these games trickling their way down to consoles or to PCs, so I was excited for that. The last game here that they showed off, as we wrap up my just gush fest of this, and then some closing remarks, I can't get a sense for what kind of game this is going to be. It almost reminded me of like a Nier kind of experience, and I understand that this franchise has existed before, so it's kind of like the next in line. I know nothing about it, but it got me interested. I really like that kind of cel-shaded art style. Kind of reminds me of like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker in a sense, where everything's kind of popping out, but it's still flat at the same time. Lots of explosions, dashing. Looks like there's an open world to explore. The reason I say it kind of reminds me of Nier is it seems like you're going to be playing with a single person, constantly kind of running and gunning, doing crazy attacks. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of combat in terms of like back and forth. Not like a game like Elden Ring or Dark Souls where you have your Z targeting and you're like blocking and defending and you're working on making sure you're breaking guards and saving your stamina. This game seems to me like you're going to be just balls to the wall, running as fast as you can, as hard as you can, killing things, lots of explosions and that sort of thing. So I'm very, very excited for that. And like I said, I know that this franchise does exist outside of this. This was great. So I'll wrap it up here, and I'll just say that this was, to me, one of the absolute best state of plays that I've seen in a very, very long time. With the exception of a few games in there that just didn't really work for me, I can honestly say that all of these games are games that are definitely on my radar, games that I'm definitely considering looking into, and some really pleasant surprises as well. I never would have thought that Capcom would be able to take franchise elements from some of the coolest franchises, that over-the-top horde mode, and add in mechs and add in, cooperative gameplay and make it look fun, but they did. And bundling up old Ninja Turtle games in a package is exciting to me. And the fact that Returnal is going to be getting some more new content. I just look at this and I was pleasantly surprised in so many different ways. I feel like Sony really nailed the state of play. And best of all, I went through almost the entire thing. I skipped a few trailers. It was only like 20 minutes. So it wasn't like you were bored with lots of transition screens and, excessive trailers and hype. They got right into it. They blew through it. I think, 10, 11 games. I lost count. But Thank you guys for watching. I'm so pumped for this. I hope you guys are too. Understand a lot of these games are not going to be PlayStation exclusives. So if you're an Xbox guy, you're a Nintendo Switch guy, you're a PC guy, there's a pretty good chance that some of these experiences will be coming to a screen near you. But they're all coming to Sony, and that is where I cannot wait to play most of these games. Thank you all so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.